2006 and 2011 actually empowers the community. It says that what it does, the localism act for the whole of the UK, has been brought out to aid for the councils to engage with community groups. This is what this is, what we've had today. They are forced to engage with us. Okay, it promotes the community right to challenge. Let me read a little bit to you about this. It shows you the power that you don't know you've got. You'll get it when you have a community group. So it allows community groups, volunteer organisations, okay, parish councils to express an interest in running local services. It gives you the opportunity to submit an expression of interest to the local authority to start running that service. Okay, whatever service you think. Community right to bid. So it enables you as a community group to nominate and bid for assets of community value, such as local pubs that have been closed. Some of the councils own the land.
We just had £45,000 to get 2 electric cars to put on a transport scheme, so as that the residents who do end up with no money, they can get to doctors, they can get to hospital, they can get the chemist.
So these facilities are community centres. There's one in Crewe which was empty. So Lisa, she was one of the coordinators for the schools, what we did, the leaflets. She went to the council, and it's a big place. She rented it for 1 year for £1, and they had to pay the electric, and they used it as a food hub in Crewe. So £1, and you can take control of these. Now, neighbourhood planning, which is your 20-minute sitters, okay? The Localism Act introduced the concept of neighbourhood planning, which allows communities to prepare their own plans for development. It gives local residents and community groups, and this is the key word, community groups, the power to shape your future. Local referendums, okay. Now, it says here, none of this is my opinion, and the same in legislation. With legislation, all these managers, they're using their policies, okay? Same with the councils. You have to use legislation to win. They will pull you back over to their policy, ignore it, pull them back over to legislation, and you'll win. Their policy, their protocol is tick box mentality. Your protocol is legislation. It's for everybody. And you don't use any emotions, you don't use any opinions, otherwise they'll have you on that. It's just purely legislation. But anyway, local authority must consider and respond to these challenges. So when I set up this local London Community Care Association, you pick on one issue. It's like one email, one issue, one letter, one issue to a solicitor. And the one issue is what we're all sharing the problem. This high cost of utility bills, gas, electric, factor of 3.5. So I went to the hotels. First of all, I made that leaflet there, and it was on the leaflet is, I drove through Llandudno, winter time. I've known it since I was a kid. I grew up between Manchester and Rhyl. I worked in the fairground for 7 seasons in Rhyl. I know this place like the back of my hand. Okay, so I went to the hotels and I saw 40% were closed, which is unusual. No work for the residents, no work for waiters, waitresses, maintenance people, for the coach drivers, and even for the kids at weekend, they weren't there. No work for the hospitality workers. No work for painters, maintenance people. So on that list, what you see there, that what was I went armed with, and I met the directors of the St George's Hotel, the top hotel, the Imperial Hotel, the guys over for 40 years, and everybody else, little cafes, big cafes, and said, do you agree with that? And they said, yes, I knew they would. It's a loaded question, do you agree with that? Would you support joining our community? Yeah, we would. Now, it's not an incorporated association, it's basically unincorporated. So what happened is the local Conservative group, they emailed me, we've heard about your community group. Oh yeah, is it an unincorporated association? Now the way you tackle that one is you don't give them opinions. You copy out the government website, .gov.uk, the definition of an unincorporated association. And you say, dear so-and-so, this is it, reference government, okay? And they said, oh, okay, why are you doing this London Community Association? I said, well, in 2011, the Conservatives were in power. And you actually brought this act in. All I'm doing is complying with what you offer, okay? So I'm putting it back on them. I'm just using what they've done, okay? So I get on with this now. And what happens then? They all get to know about it, all concerned about power. And I got a phone call from Moston Estates, They own London Nut, okay, so I didn't know. They own it. He said, come and have a coffee with me. So I went to a coffee, sat down in Nero's coffee bar. You would never know the guy who business development manager. And he said, well, he said, everything's okay in Llandudno, no one's crying out. I said, well, that's the opposite. And you know all these people, they all know each other. They know the MPs, everything. They're crying out. They seem to be concerned about the integrity of our community. That's why we have this Llandudno Community Care Association. 3 weeks later, he organised at the Llandudno Bay Hotel a conference where he invited some experts on power reductions. So everybody turned up. They all turned up there. And in fact, I tried to make it stronger, and I sat in a council meeting in Conwy, and you've got to do this as a calendar. And I looked at the calendar and I went to the meeting, and I was first there, and I made sure everybody knew me. You've got to be cheeky, pushy. I went round and introduced myself to everybody in that council at the beginning, and to make sure they knew who I was, and they don't forget who I was. Most people don't forget. I don't know why. I get it every day. Kids do. So there was a guy called Paul, and he was the councillor. This is who to look for. Look for independent councillors, because they have to survive independently, not politically. They're there for a purpose. And this guy Paul turned up, and within 10 seconds, I knew I could work with this guy. He opened the door for us to go in, and he gave me his card. He says, contact me. And this is where you're going to get recognised, not for money. He said, phone me up. And I phoned him up, and he said, how can I help you? Okay. I said, well, I don't want help. I need your help to help the community. And when I told him what we're trying to do, he said, okay, I'll get another 4 councillors involved. Now, he's an independent one, and you have a scrutiny committee in the council who have to look after all what they do financially. Okay. And he came to the meeting, and he sat next to me. But 10 minutes later, he was outside in the reception walking around like this, and he was taken ill. He was stuck in the toilet. He thought he had a sandwich from the hotel. It was appendicitis, so they whipped him away. So he missed that meeting. But you see, they know about the local Llandudno Community Care Association now. And it just takes one issue. Whatever issue you choose, you've got to find what is common. At the moment, it's got to be power. It affects all the domestics as well as the business. And if you go for the directors, they're the ones who employ people. If they employ 50 people, they employ 50 families. That's 150 people. And directors actually feel for you. They have a responsibility. They feel for their workers. They will say, I don't want to lose these workers. They're good workers. And they know they've got kids. Believe me, any responsible director, when I have people working for me, like companies have people working for me, I feel responsible for these people. So if you can go in there, you don't want any money, you don't want any rewards, that's not the idea. The rewards will come to you as a community. But what empowers you is the Localism Act, which I've just said to you, Localism Act. And the second one that empowers you is this, the Wellbeing Act, which is specifically for Wales. However, I think this thing is similar in the rest of the UK. The Wellbeing Act, section 44, 45, encourages involvement again. For the council to be involved with you. It promotes collaborations, engagement, sharing information. One of the things it does say, if there's any damage to local businesses, they have to find a way to mitigate it. And the way they do this, one of the ways they do it is they give discount on the business rates. So some of these hotels get 75% discount on business rates. But it's not the answer to the high cost of utilities. What I told you about, in April they put the utility bill up again by a factor of 30%. So whatever power saving devices they're putting in to mitigate the cost of the electric, it doesn't matter, a month later the utility goes up again. Okay, so this is the power of your community group. You actually got power, because if they turn around to you, why have you got one? Well, the Localism Act gives us that opportunity, it actually encourages us to do that. And the Wellbeing Act says you as a council have to find a way to mitigate the suffering that's going on now. Okay, so they'll say, well, we don't own the utility companies. No, but you have the power to call them, to have a conference and say what they can do. Okay, you also have the power of influence. And this is what they're doing in Thetford now. People like yourself have actually gone on the council. It's just a simple application form, no money. And these votings for the councils, they vary. There's council, county council, district council, parish council. and they're all staggered, so you can get in on there. You can go into the meetings in Conway and sit there and identify an independent councillor and work with them, not the ones who belong to the political parties. Okay, so that's it, I'm coming to an end. I hope that's been informative and helpful. You can always contact me.